Masturbation secrets old men wish they knew sooner. When you get to be my age, you learn to see life from the mountaintop. You look down at the valley where you spent most of your years, and you see all the paths you took ... and all the ones you didn't. You see the things you worried sick about, the anxieties you carried. And from up here, you realize most of it was just dead weight. It just didn't matter. But some things really do. And if I could go back, if I could find myself at 30 or 40 years old, just rushing through life with my head down, I wouldn't give him stock tips. I wouldn't tell him who wins the World Series. I'd tell him a secret. A simple truth about his own body that he was too busy, too ashamed, or maybe just too clueless to understand out. It's a secret that could have saved him from years of quiet disconnection, from that feeling of fading vitality he just accepted as part of getting older. It's a secret about self-care, about health, and about reclaiming a part of yourself that society tells you to hide. It's about masturbation. And it's not what you think. Section 1. The invisible burden I carried. To get why this matters so much, you have to understand the man I used to be. At 35 was what you'd call successful. Had a decent job, a family, a mortgage. On paper, everything was right, but inside, there was this constant, low-grade hum of anxiety. I just felt like a stranger in my own skin, that my body was just a machine to get me from home to work and back again. And pleasure? That was something you were supposed to get from the outside world. A good meal, a promotion, a new car. The idea of finding pleasure and peace within myself, by myself, well, it felt wrong. It felt like failure. Growing up, nobody talked about it. It was a joke in the schoolyard, a sin at church, a shameful secret in the bedroom. It was something you were supposed to grow out of. If you were still doing it, it meant you were lonely or desperate or couldn't find a real partner. It was never, ever talked about as something healthy, something vital. So, for decades, that's how I treated it. A guilty little habit, an impulse to be squashed down. I didn't realize I was ignoring one of the most powerful built-in tools for my own well-being. I was carrying this invisible burden of shame, and man, it was costing me. It cost me sleep. It cost me confidence. It cost me a deeper intimacy, not just with my partner, but with myself. I was living life with the volume turned way down, and I didn't even know it. Section 2. A quiet revelation. The change for me didn't happen overnight. There wasn't some big lightning bolt moment. It was more like a slow sunrise. It started after my wife, Eleanor, passed away. The house got quiet, real quiet. The loneliness I'd managed to keep busy and away for years just came rushing in. The silence was deafening. And in that silence, I was forced to finally listen. To myself. I started reading. Not just novels, but books about health, about aging, the mind-body connection. I started paying attention to my body, not as this old machine breaking down, but as a living thing that still had needs. I started walking. Every day. I learned to just sit and breathe. And one day, I stumbled on an article about prostate health. It mentioned that regular ejaculation was linked to a lower risk of prostate cancer. And this wasn't some fringe website. It was based on major studies from places like Harvard. The thinking is that flushing out the prostate regularly helps clear out fluids and maybe some harmful stuff that can build up. Suddenly, a light went on. This act, the one I'd tied to shame for 60 years, was being presented as a way to stay healthy, like brushing your teeth or stretching your muscles. It was a complete revelation. It reframed everything. It wasn't about being lonely. It wasn't about failure. It was about self-care. It was about taking responsibility for my own health, body and mind, in a way I never had before. It was a quiet, personal revolution. Section 3. The first secret: your body's built-in pharmacy. So the first and biggest secret I wish I'd known is this: your body has its own pharmacy. And this simple act is a key to opening it. I started to see it not as something shameful, but as a health ritual. And the benefits I found were astounding, and they're all backed by science. First, there's the prostate health I mentioned. The science is pretty clear. Big studies that followed thousands of men for years found that guys who ejaculated frequently, around 21 times a month, had a roughly 20% lower risk of getting prostate cancer compared to those who did it way less. That's a powerful preventative tool that costs nothing and is completely in your control. But it goes way beyond that. I started to notice my stress just melting away. I'd always been a worrier, my mind always churning. Afterward, I'd feel this sense of calm that I struggled to find anywhere else. I learned this is because an orgasm releases a whole cocktail of incredible brain chemicals like endorphins, dopamine, and oxytocin. These are your feel-good hormones. They naturally push back against cortisol, the stress hormone. It's a built-in stress reliever. And then, my sleep. Oh, my sleep. For years, I had trouble falling and staying asleep. But on the nights I practiced this little bit of self-care, I slept like a log. That release of hormones, especially oxytocin and prolactin, is like a natural sedative. It helps you relax, quiets your mind, and lets you drift into a deeper sleep. For an older man, or really anyone who struggles with sleep, this is just a gift. Section 4. The second secret. Fuel for the kill. The physical benefits were profound. But this second secret was, in many ways, even more transformative. This wasn't just about the body. It was about the spirit. As you get older, you face a lot of loss. You lose friends. You lose some of your strength. And sometimes, you lose the person you've spent your entire life with. It can lead to a deep, biting loneliness and a feeling of being, well, irrelevant. Masturbation became a source of comfort, a quiet reminder that I was still alive, still capable of feeling pleasure, even if it was just with myself. It wasn't a replacement for Eleanor, of course not, but it was a way to generate my own warmth in a cold, empty house. It also rebuilt my confidence. Let's be honest, aging can be tough on a man's ego. Your body changes. Things don't work like they used to. It's easy to feel like less of a man. But embracing this act helped me accept my body as it is now. It became this private space where I could explore what felt good without any judgment. It gave me a sense of self-love that I'd never really had before. A powerful reminder that my vitality didn't depend on anyone else. Research shows that seniors who stay sexually active, and yes, that includes by themselves, report being happier with their lives and have lower rates of depression. And it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? You're actively creating your own joy. You're telling yourself that you are a whole person with needs and desires. It's a quiet rebellion against the idea that older folks should just fade into the background. Section 5. The third secret. The art of it, this last secret, isn't about why you should do it, but how. Because for this to really be self-care, it needs a different mindset. My younger self, when he indulged, was rushed, almost rough, driven by a need for release that was always mixed with guilt. The real benefits came when I learned there's an art to it. First, your mindset. You have to reframe it. This is not your dirty little secret. This is a health practice. It's a mindful act. You're not resorting to it. You are choosing it for your own well-being. Shifting from shame to intention, that is the most important step you can take. Second, the technique. As you age, your body changes. You might not be as sensitive. The temptation is to get rougher, to use a firmer grip. That's a mistake. It can cause irritation or even hurt you over time. The real key is to be gentle. Use a good quality lubricant. It's not a crutch or a sign of failure. It's a tool for comfort and better sensation. Just listen to your body. Pay attention to what feels good. It should be a slow, relaxing, and enjoyable experience, not a race to the finish line. Finally, just listen to your body afterward. Notice how you feel. Any discomfort? Your body is always talking to you. This is just another way to deepen that conversation. And there's no magic number here. Yeah, some studies point to frequent ejaculation, but the real key is finding a rhythm that feels good and right for you. It's not about hitting a quota. It's about consistent, mindful care. CTA now, before I wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. If this has opened your eyes a little bit, think about subscribing for more stories on how to live a fuller life, no matter your age. More importantly, share your own thoughts in the comments. What's one piece of advice you wish you could give your younger self? The wisdom in this community is a powerful thing, and we can all learn from each other. Conclusion, so that's the secret. That's what I'd whisper in my younger self's ear. I'd tell him that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. I'd tell him that pleasure isn't a sin. It's a nutrient for the soul. And I'd tell him that his own body has a wisdom and a power to heal that he's ignoring because of shame. Don't wait until you're 80 to learn this stuff. Don't wait for loneliness or a health scare to force you to pay attention. Start today. See this simple, natural act for what it truly is. A powerful tool for your health, for your mind, and for a deep sense of self-acceptance. This isn't a dress rehearsal. Embrace every tool you have to live fully, with joy and without shame. It's one of the greatest acts of love you can give yourself. Don't wait. Just begin.